All right, it's been 2 months since an explosion leveled several homes in northwest Baltimore. Tragically, some died, some survived, and some are still fighting to recover today.
And one of those fighting is a man named Terry James, a loving father going through surgeries every week. Now, was using an iPad just to communicate at one point, burns all over his body, and the loss of both legs.
His family speaks to Ritter about his heroic fight to survive. We want to warn you, some of the images of Terry's injuries are graphic.
What would you do if you woke up and your life shattered literally into pieces? For Terry James, it happened in an instant. It was that blast on the morning of August 10th that rocked a northwest Baltimore neighborhood. 3 homes demolished along Labyrinth Road, killing 2, injuring several others, including Terry, shown here as rescuers carefully carried his still burning body from the rubble.
That's my son, my brother, my nephew. All of the above.
And for the first time, Terry's family is speaking out only to WJZ.
I live by a motto. Everything happens for a reason. Lord knows I'm still looking for the reasoning.
Sharing the haunting memories of that summer morning when they first got word of the explosion.
And what's going through your mind at that point when you get that call and then you see on the news that his house is one of those that exploded?
All I could do is say, Jesus, 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 Jesus. That's my son.
Horror that led to the hospital with Terry lying on the surgery table.
The first call I got was them telling me it was an emergency and we gotta amputate him. That was the first call I got, but at least I realized he was alive at that point. He had enough wherewithal, enough sense to say, hey, please call my uncle, and gave him my phone number.
Within hours, Terry lost both of his legs, had burns all over his body, and could barely speak due to burns internally.
87% of his skin was gone.
And a survival rate that doctors said was as low as 10%.
As a mother sitting there, not knowing if your son was okay.
You have to trust, but at that time, I wasn't trusting nothing. It's like a dream. It's like a dream to me. And I'm going to wake up, and he's going to be back to normal.
How can you try to be encouraging when the doctors tell you got 10% chance of living? But I got to try to be encouraging. Tell him to keep fighting. And I know it's a lot for him mentally because it's a lot for me, and I'm not going through it.
But that's exactly what Terry did. Fight. An all-star father who loves basketball and wanted to open up his own construction company. Released from the hospital October 7th, recognizable again, and now speaking on his own.
I am a survivor. Amen.
A true Baltimore miracle.
Less than 2 months. Less than 2 months. Great job. Pretty good.
One of the doctors actually told me that he would be able to run and jump again. I said, jump? Awesome.
But the financial burden of what's to come next is unfathomable.
To be financially prepared, we have to change our home for it to be accessible to him. That means widening doorways. We got to make the shower accessible for him, for his bedroom, the entrance to the home, on top of medical bills. And then the foreseeable future, his around-the-clock care that's going to need to happen.
While the James family is now asking for the public's help, the investigation into the cause of the explosion and how this all happened is still being pieced together.
While this is a tragedy, it was not an act of God. Our goal certainly is to figure out who is responsible.
More than a month later, still no answers, and an uphill battle for the man they adore. But even the unimaginable and a burden like this can't shake the faith of the James family.
If you believe in a higher power, you believe that it's a grander scheme than just you. But I don't believe he deserved this, and I don't know what the plan is. But I'm hoping that we come out on the good side of it.
That's a beautiful attitude, and obviously his faith has sustained him. I'm Denise Koch, and I'm here with Rick to talk about this story. unbelievable that someone can suffer those kinds of injuries and be home as quickly as he is.
It's absolutely amazing. You know, we called it a Baltimore miracle, and that's exactly what it is. And it's a testament, too, to not only Terry for being an absolute fighter, but also Johns Hopkins Bayview unit, the burn unit, and all they did to help him move along that quick. I mean, you heard it in the story. Doctors had said that he had a 10% survival at one point, burns from 60% of his body to 90%, and to make a comeback like that, for a lack of better words, to improve day by day, keep fighting, and make your way out of the hospital in less than 2 months. It's unbelievable.
I have to imagine he was in a lot of pain, that this has been really rough.
I mean, some of the pictures that we showed you during the story, we had to blur out a little bit, you know, too graphic to show for the most part. Everything he went through, you know, being in one of those homes that exploded, and we talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was in the right place. At your home is somewhere where you're supposed to feel safe, and it's just there at the wrong time, for sure. It's a heartbreaking story. It is amazing to see the improvement that he's had, to have him released from the hospital, a true fighter, and now this family, they need help.
Yeah, and I mean, clearly he has a lot of faith, but his life has taken an enormous turn. So what does he need? What is his future?
You know, we talk about financial help. He is now back home with his family, but they need help making that home accessible for him. We're talking widening doorways, making the shower more accessible. I'm hoping that, you know, we have the GoFundMe page on our website. If you're interested in helping out, please go there. But I'm hoping that there's a construction company out there that sees this story, you know, wants to take it on and goes into that house and does some of this work to help out and to give back, because Lord knows they need it right now.
Yeah, well, thank goodness he is alive and doing as well as he is, and he had great medical care. Thank you, Rick. And we'll be right back.